Wednesday and Thursday. Gotta love it. So all week we've been talking about protecting your garden, getting it ready for the fall, raking, lawn, fertilizer, not fertilizer, to fertilize or not fertilize. Today we're going to talk about annuals and perennials. And we'll do a quick recap on what they are.
How much we love them.
We'll do a quick talk about what the difference is, because I know that is one. It doesn't matter the time of year, people find it tricky. Annuals, one and done. They're the ones, your marigolds, your pansies, tomato plants. You put them in, they're not making it through the winter. They are going to grow all season, they're going to die, and that's it. Those are your annuals. Your perennials are the ones that come back every year. Your trees and shrubs are a type of perennial, but they are trees and shrubs. Your hostas, your monkshood, liatras, all of those are your perennials. Perennials come back year after year after year. Your annuals, one and done. So that's it in a nutshell. And we all know in the spring, you pick and choose the ones you want, depending on what you're looking for. Perennials do better in a flower bed. Annuals do great in a flower bed. It can be very expensive filling a flower bed. So annuals do really good in hanging baskets and pots as that accent color, that pop of color. Brandy, can you hit pause for 1 second?
Yes.
Back, are we on?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I can't stand around while somebody needs help, so my apologies for the interruption. Where were we? All right, so in the spring, you put your annuals out, or you accent your flower bed and that kind of stuff, and you put your perennials, and they're going to grow into each other, you're going to get a beautiful look. So we understand that. We understand that they may, you can use an all-purpose on them both. Maybe use a flowering on them. If there's grasses, maybe you're going to use a high nitrogen on them. But whatever it might be, that's all summer and spring. We are now into the autumn. So what do we do in the autumn with these? For annuals, personally, I like to remove them. It makes the cleanup in the spring easier. Plus, a lot of them can turn to mush and they're hard to get out in the spring. Now, I'm not actually going to do it, but we've got a fall annual here. So this is a chrysanthemum. Again, this Friday, I'll probably go and visit my mum and bring a mum from my mum. I bring her them all the time, because quite frankly, she deserves some. That's for my mum. So what you do is, if this is in the flower bed, I just grabbed one of these real quick. If it's in the flower bed, grab it by the crown. I'm going to be a lot more gentle with this. And just pull it out. Then, what I like to do is I take my garden trowel, so if they're hard you can dig them out, and then I whack on the soil, and I break as much of that soil and that root off as I can. That's great soil. It might be depleted, but as a neutral medium, it's fine. And next spring, I know I'm going to be adding my additives, my peat moss, my worm castings, my biochar, whatever I believe I need is what I'm going to put in. So I get as much soil off as I can, bam, that goes in the compost. Easily done, nothing to worry about, but he's going to go back in his pot. Or she, it's a mom, I guess it would be she. That's brave new wolf. Now, if you're trying to self-seed an annual, which you can, you let it go and let the pollinators get in there and let it go to seed. And some of them self-seed quite well. I think most people who've planted annuals are very familiar with the spring coming and being like, oh, I didn't put pansies there, but what do you know? Now you got a pansy there coming up in the middle of your patio. We get them around here. We have them popping up in tropicals and stuff like that. Pansies are a great example of self-seeders. Cosmos do it. Cleome does it. There's a, oh, I forgot about that. I was wondering what was tickling me. But if you're trying to get them to go to seed, just leave them alone. Yeah, it might be a bit trickier to take them out in the spring, but it's well worth it. But again, I touched on this the other day about in a pot. So if you've got an accent pot or a hanging basket, it's probably not going to work. Again, there isn't that much to seed around there, and the seed probably isn't going to live in the pot because that pot is going to freeze solid, and it doesn't need that. It needs a bit of give. It needs that snow. It needs that insulation from the ground. So annuals in pots clean out. Plus, you don't want to leave your pot out all winter; it gets damaged. Then there are other annuals. The most common one being geraniums, and I know a fair few people that'll keep their geraniums and they'll do cuttings, and literally, just like you've seen us do in the spring when we were doing things on houseplants, they literally take a cutting, they'll put it in a peat pellet. Some people do it directly in water, some people do it in a sand soil mix, some will use a rooting compound with it, others don't. They're a pretty hardy plant. The reason geraniums are so popular is because of how hardy they are. So you take a cutting from your geranium and you can start your geraniums right away and get them through. Now, depending on the season, they can start actively growing in your house, and voila, they're too big and leggy to put in the garden. So you have to kind of watch the time. But it can be a fun winter project. Just grow some geraniums and practice your cuttings and propagation skills. It can be a lot of fun to do that. Always try and cut that nice new growth at the end. It's the best chance you've got of succeeding. If there's no leaves on them, again, they don't need sunlight. Photosynthesis in there, it's like starting a seed. They're going to need warmth and they're going to need moisture. You don't want to overwater because there's no roots to drink it up, but you want that soil moist to encourage the root growth, and you want warmth. Heat mat, nice warm area in your house, that kind of thing. And it's always good to have a little bit of light because it is still living. It isn't a seed that is totally dormant. There is still life there. So that's a cutting. So now we'll move on to perennials. And we still have a fair amount of perennials in stock. It's still a great time to plant them. Now I'm not going to actually do too much because, again, like I've mentioned before, this is still green. Yeah, some of the leaves are turning, some are very pale. Again, that's the amount of light. It's been growing all year. This one here, by the way, I love, I don't know if you can see, almost like the leopard spots on the leaf. And this is a pulmonaria, and they are beautiful. They really stand out. Early season bloomer, they look incredible. So if this is in your yard growing, and it's really starting to grow, all the leaves have gone back, all you want to do is you want to go to your perennial department and steal their pruners because you left yours upstairs. That's the first thing you want to do. Thank you, perennials, we love you. And then all you're going to do, it's a lot easier when it's in the ground, track the leaf back into the crown and snip it off. And that's literally all you're going to do, and then you're just going to leave your crown, and it just makes it easier to clean up. Now, people will ask, can you leave a perennial and just let the leaves die down? Absolutely you can. I personally don't like it. Couple of reasons. In the spring, when it's go and you're trying to get your garden open, cleaning out those dead leaves, you can damage those new shoots. So where I cut those leaves back from, right there, well, this is where the new shoots are going to come out. Well, if there's a ton of dead leaves, I might not see them. I go to pull it, I can snap and damage those shoots. So I like to clean mine up in the fall. The other reason being, again, those leaves in the fall, they can get bogged down with wet snow, the dew, the moisture, and they can start being a breeding ground, especially if they're in a bed that already has a powdery mildew or a fungus in it. You can trap that in. I personally like to cut them off and clean them up. Absolutely, you can leave them. In the case of something like this, one of the benefits of leaving them, of course, as those leaves finish down, well, they're going to act as a natural insulator on the crown of the plant for the new shoots. Remember what we spoke about where we talked about you might want to put mulch on some tender perennials, that kind of thing. or you can let the perennial do it itself. So it really depends what you want to do and how much time you've got. I personally cut mine back in the cases of hostas or daylilies. Once it's gone that really sickly yellow wet color, you just gently pull it and it'll just lift away from the crown and they'll be fine. So that's what I like to do on my perennials and annuals. I know this is the time of year when a lot of people will do division of their perennials. Little rule of thumb, it's fine. Like I said, I like to do a lot of mine early spring. The exceptions to those rules are to not do it if it's an early spring flowerer or a late fall. So since we're in the autumn, we'll talk about that. If you've got a sedum, terrific plant. I didn't have one, otherwise I'd show it to you. If you have a sedum, that's a late fall bloomer. You don't want to divide that in the fall because you're going to shock it and it's going to lose all of its flowers. You want to do that in the spring. Again, something like a pulmonaria that blooms early in the spring, you might want to divide that in the fall so you're not shocking it in the spring. So you can do that. And then the other factor, and again, between fertilizer and water, I feel like I'm a broken record. But I can't say it enough because of the accidents I've seen happen and the damages I've seen people do to their plants by these things. So you don't want to fertilize. You do not need a good night fertilizer. They are fine. If you've fertilized all season, you've given them everything they need all season, they're good. Let them go. They're doing what they do. They want to be dormant. It's like you being really tired and somebody giving you a Red Bull. Okay, you really don't want it. You don't feel great. Now you're tired, but you've got too much energy to sleep. Essentially what you're doing. Let them go to sleep. But water. Water. A lot of times we look and we're like, oh, it looks like that. It doesn't need water. Yes, it does. It doesn't need as much as during the heat of the summer, but it still needs water. These get watered regular right here in our store, even though they're literally going dormant. So you really want to keep up on the water. And like I said, I like to clean it up. I like a nice clean garden in the fall. I like my plants protected, my leaves gone, my winterized area. I like all my perennials cut back, my annuals removed, all of that. So come this spring, I've got a blank slate to work with. I know everything is. I'm not out there in the spring when I want to see things actively growing, trying to cut back perennials. I dig out gross annuals that have just turned to mush with the snow and the chinook and whatnot. So that kind of wraps it up. Again though, if you're not sure, leave it. Okay, I know some people, I've seen it happen before, that have made the mistake and they've ripped out perennials in the fall and left in annuals. So if you're not sure, leave it. The spring will let you know what you need to do. Might be a bit more work in the spring, but it sure beats pulling out plants that you don't want to. So that wraps us up for this week on general garden cleanup and whatnot. Tomorrow, Hawaiian Shirt Friday, always fun. Keep your comments coming in, keep your questions coming in. We hope you guys are enjoying the new format. We hope you've gotten a bit better with the microphone. Ooh, yeah! See how much fun? You're going to see Brandy's like literally face palming me. But I really hope you had fun. I hope you've learned some things. If you got any questions, you want me to go a bit deeper into something, let us know. We can address it. As always, we're here for all of your questions. Keep them coming in. Be safe, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye now!